We are 16 days away from the NFL draft, and we just can't stop talking about it because we obviously know what the Bears are going to do at number 1, but that number 9 pick, there's a lot happening as the Bears continue to bring in more top 30 visits, and I'm excited to break down not only the top 30 expectations, but also potentially more players that the Bears can bring in and what we think Caleb Williams is going to do this upcoming season as the Chicago Bears quarterback. But I have two very special guests from a very, very special podcast as well from BFR Podcast. We've got Dave calling in right now, and we got Ficky, and we got everybody on the show. Guys, thanks for joining the show. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having us on. We love a good podcast.
Yeah, I was going to let Ficky go first, but I'm excited, Nick. It's been way too long, man. Way too long, Absolutely. But excited to be here as always.
And I think the chat is excited to have us all here too, because we got Jorge, we got JD calling in right now saying bear down. We got Huckleberry. What's up, Antonio? We got some of the regulars. We got Joseph R, Astro Juicy, Squeegee, and oh man, we got everybody calling in right now. So everyone's throwing the bear down in the live chat. Keep it up. We'll be answering that as the show goes on. But as you guys know, we're going to start off with the number one topic that everyone likes to talk about is the Caleb Williams expectations for 2024. As we all know, it's pretty confirmed that he's going to be the Bears quarterback next year. All indications. I mean, Tyler Scott switched his number today. I saw that and I was like, is this legit? But it sounds like it is. So I'm going to start with Ficky real quick on this one. What is your expectations for Caleb Williams next year? Just give it all to the fans right now.
Yeah, for me, it's like I'm not necessarily looking at like the stats. I just want something that I think none of us Bears have ever experienced before. Like since the birth of this team in the 20s, right? 1920s. I think it's coming away from a season and being like, you know what? I think that's our guy. We've never had one season when a rookie has come in and played where we walked away and said, that is our future right there. Now, we've had spurts, maybe. They had a game here, a game there, but we've never walked away at the very end and said, yeah, I think we can build around him. Now, to get to that point, to have those, have that gut feeling about that, sure, you're going to need some stats. You're going to have to break the Bears rookie records. Let's be real. And to be fair, those records are not hard to break, right? Was it like 2,100 yards passing? Like, come on, bro. This is the modern NFL. So I'm not saying he has to go break all the rookie records like the NFL, like go, 4,400 to break Herbert's rookie passing record or do something like CJ Stroud. I'm not saying he has to do that. I just want him to come in here and solidify that QB1 spot so then we don't have to talk about this anymore. And so we can actually have an off season. Bear with me. Like, imagine this, an off season where we can literally talk about anything other than the QB. So that's what I want. That's my expectations for Caleb is to literally come in here and do what he's meant to do, what we expect him to do, win games, ball out. And, he's going to have his up and downs being a rookie. We expect that. But just come in here and be like, yo, this is my city.
So I like that. So I was looking up the stats, the records that we have to break. Yeah, they're not too impressive. Literally. No. A little more than 2,100 yards, like you said. I think that he's going to break every single record this upcoming year. I mean, just looking at his stats. And Dave, I want to hear your thoughts on it too, because, Caleb Williams in the 3 seasons in college, over 10,000 passing yards, over almost 100 passing touchdowns and only 14 interceptions. I mean, what is the first record that you think Caleb Williams is going to break for the Chicago Bears this upcoming season?
The first for just this season? I think if he stays healthy, you throw in the weapons, everything Ficky just said, you got to break that passing record. If he is who we think he is and what everyone else is kind of talking about, there's no reason. Also, coming into this situation as the number 1 overall pick, it's rare. I'm not sure it's happened really ever in regards to just a quarterback going number 1 and going to a team with a defense and offense like this. So for me, if he does it, awesome. If he gets close, I wouldn't be upset. But I feel like that's a record right there that he needs to go ahead and to beat. So,
you don't think we'll get that 4,000 yard passing quarterback this year?
If there's a year to do it, this would be it, right?
As long as you're healthy. If everyone remains healthy, I really think it's a possibility. But just because it's the modern NFL, and Caleb is, probably like a modern quarterback in regards to the similarities with all the greats right now, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers to an extent. So for me, it's like this guy, he really should come in and just be able to feel comfortable and not have to be Superman, but just get the ball out in time, get to your playmakers. DJ Moore, with the new rule change, me and Vicky talked about it. DJ Moore is going to be a monster. So it's like, it is going to be interesting just if everyone can stay healthy, how far and how productive the offense can be, especially if they add another. I know we'll get to it later if they add more to the offense. So
right now, obviously last season we had Cole Kmet was our tight end, and then we had DJ Moore. After that, I mean, nothing against the guys that were on the roster, but there was room for improvement. You bring in Keenan Allen, you bring in DeAndre Swift, you bring in Gerald Everett. Out of all the so far offseason signings, Vicky, I'm going to go back to you on this one real quick. Who is the best target that the Bears brought in for Caleb Williams for next season?
I mean, I think we know the obvious one has got to be our boy Keenan Allen, right? Like, you now have, and I think there's a report about this, but you now have 2 wide receivers that had over 1,000 yards. A rookie in NFL history has never been drafted, a rookie quarterback, to a team that's already had 2, I think it's like 1,200 yard plus receivers on it. So literally, like Dave said, Caleb Williams is coming into a very, very favorable situation. Whether it's the best all time, I don't know. I'd have to look at the history, but he's coming into a very, very favorable situation. So getting someone like that, right? Not only is it someone who, pretty good at, had a career year and has had a long career of being consistently good. He's also the type of receiver he is very favorable to a rookie quarterback, right? He is the type of, he's not like, I'm doing a 9 route and I'm breaking you because of my top tier speed, right? He's the guy who's like, I'm a zone, right? I'm going to go hit a slant, see where the zone's at, sit in it, boom, right there for Caleb, right? More of that dink and dunk, drop off, like easy receptions. And that's what we want. Me and Dave talked about on our podcast. Who would have more receptions, Keenan Allen or DJ Moore? And Keenan Allen is basically averaging like 90 plus receptions a year. So like, he is going to be a very easy target. Like, I don't see those targets going down, and having a mix with him, like, who's really a zone beater, with DJ Moore, who's a man destroyer, more of a yak type of wide receiver. I think you get a perfect mix there, right? So having him is going to really like help ease in the rookie mistakes, right? Because now he has that safety net along with Cole Kmet. Now, if we don't go the obvious one, my personal favorite has got to be Gerald Everett, like tight end 2, right, on your team, who last year statistically was like your tight end 18 in the NFL. So you get a starting tight end that's now your second, and he has a different skill set than someone of Cole Kmet, right? He's more of that pass catching type of tight end. He obviously is going to be on the line, and you'll see 12 personnel, 13 personnel with Shane Waldron. He likes to run that. So I think you'll see a lot of situations where like Caleb's going to have so many weapons. So it's weird that the Bears have finally done right for a quarterback coming in that I almost can't like even think, is this reality? Like, someone's going to come in, you're like, oh no, there's no excuses now. Like, if you can't come in here and play well, we'll know right away, like, Caleb's the dude or not.
So I couldn't agree more with you with Gerald Everett. That's my pick, and I'll get into that in a minute. But you made a good comment in regards to doing right for the Bears quarterback. And I feel like this hasn't happened since 2013, where it was Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Marshall, Bennett, Forte, all for Jay Cutler. I wish Greg Olsen was obviously in that conversation, but that was Mike Martz doing. I see Dave's laughing at that one. That's right
crazy,
there. But
yeah.
I think we got a 3rd and a 5th for him, and I don't even know who we ended up picking up. But still, one of the worst trades in Bears history to this day. But Gerald Everett is an absolute tank, and that's why I love this for Caleb Williams, is because you have Waldron's offense, who is super tight end friendly. And you bring in a guy 6'3", 205, and the last 3 seasons has almost 1,500 receiving yards for a tight end, which is super impressive, along with 11 receiving touchdowns. My favorite stat about him, too, is that he has the 2nd most broken tackles by the tight end over the last 3 seasons, which I think is just lethal. You need to break opportunities for yourself. And obviously, with the offensive line still trending in the right direction, still not there, I think that you're going to need playmakers like that because there has to be an opportunity there. Dave, from an offseason standpoint, we kind of already hit on it, but like, who is your favorite and why for Caleb Williams?
Yeah. I mean, I think Vicky's right. I mean, I don't know how you can't say Keenan Allen. I mean, that was electric. I think we were all really excited waiting for the Bears can kind of do something bigger because they, signed Swift, which if I'm going to pick one that's not been taken, I would say Swift is probably up there just because of how dynamic he is, especially when you throw in every other weapon that the defense now has to worry about. And then you got Caleb, who is a good runner as well. Maybe not Justin Fields, but just he's up there. He's probably top 5, top 8 in the league already once he gets here as far as running and the ability to really just he's elusive. So for me, Swift, I think the way he can catch the ball, like Herbert, love him, Roschon Johnson, but none of those guys can do what Swift's going to show us here in Chicago in regards to just being able to catch the ball, make people miss, and then just get easy yards. So best thing for Caleb is having all these weapons and then a running back who's going to be, just dump it off to him. A little check down, and he can either get you 3, 4, or, make a big play. So I would say Swift it's underrated. Like it's the first one that they made. They obviously like the guy. They have big plans for him. So I think that one's going to be, again, if he can stay healthy, it's going to be fun to see kind of what he can do. So reminds me of like Tariq Cohen a little bit. Obviously different player, but like that electric, that extra boost there has been missing the last few years, even with Monty.
I mean, what could have been with, I still go back and look at Cohen's tapes and just like what could have been. It sucks.
Yeah, and they signed him to a great deal too. It's such a steal, extension. And it was a punt, right? When he went down at like punt return. So I mean, it's just tough.
Against the Colts. I'll never forget. It was against the Colts. It was the first game that I watched at a bar during COVID. It was at Joe's on Weed Street in Lincoln Park. And the whole bar went silent because Tyreek was the guy.
Is that where your draft party is?
No, the draft party's at Rizzo's, which I would love for you guys to be there. I know you guys are actually going to the draft. At least Ficky is. Are you going to the draft?
Yeah, I had plans, but I'll be out of town. So I was like, I can't change my plans, unfortunately. Otherwise, I was going to go with Ficky, he's going to be there. He's going to be there. We're going to be trying to go live, and he's going to, depending on the cell service, hopefully, be able to see Caleb, because Caleb's going. I don't know if you heard that. He'll be there, which is kind of cool.
That I did see he's actually going to be in attendance, which that's exciting. Like,
which is good.
I feel like that's a loss that's been lost. Like, guys aren't going to like certain things as much anymore. Minus the combine, Caleb's gone to everything else, which I think is super cool.
And I like that Justin was there with his family and stuff, but like it is cool to see them, there, obviously they do the interview and Justin did as well, but it's like, it's a little bit different when, you're not there at the draft. Just the electricity.
Well, I think the players don't want to go through the situation where they're sitting forever, like the Aaron Rodgers type of deal.
Will Levis too.
Will Levis, you're just sitting there like it's. Oh, that would be painful, tough. Man. That's tough to watch. Yeah.
But if you're Caleb Williams or any of these,
you're good. Yeah, you better like Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, like all those top 3 quarterbacks and probably top 3 wide receivers. You should be there because you're going in the first round.
Yeah, if you're like a lock, like you're a lock, I would honestly hear me out. Liatu Latu, I think that he shouldn't go. Because a lot of teams like are bringing him in. Like I know he was just with the Bears. I saw Dave was the first one to report that. Like I was excited about that. That's pretty sweet. But the medical history, man, I don't know. Some teams might sit back a little bit and be like, I don't know about that one. So
that makes sense. Like if you're not, that's not a certified lock. You know what I mean? He could literally go anywhere from like 7 to out of the first round because of his neck fusion. So. Yeah, if I had that big of a range of like variability, my ass is staying at home.
and just so you know, Ficky, Brujas 7 is going to be in Detroit, so try to keep a lookout for him.
Look for the guy with the big hair. I'll definitely talk with you.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's gonna be tons of people there. It's gonna be fun.
So many.
Yeah,
I wanted to go. I think it was close enough to Chicago that it's like, okay, like I could make that work, but you were going to say something, Dave, my bad.
No, I was going to say like, for me, it was either go to the draft or go to training camp. And so I was like, I had to pick one, and I'm going to be at training camp for about a week. So I'm like, I think it was just overall, at least we have one of my guys is going, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, just ship one of us off. We'll be there.
You better.
Yeah, it'll be fun though. It'll be fun.
I'm looking. I wanted to go to Detroit because you can literally walk over to the Canadian border. There's like one bridge where they really don't check, and like you can just go to Canada real quick, go do a little gambling, and walk back. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you, Vicky. I think it's a good experience. Well, note it. If I get a call from Vicky at like right after the draft and be like, all right, I made it. Now what? I'll keep a lookout for him for sure.
Yeah, fair.
But I'm excited for the draft. Who is one guy? You know what? Before we get into the overall, the number 9 pick, which I know a lot of people are here for, because I know that's a hot topic right now. Quickly, I do want to give a quick shout out. So guys, these are the guys from the BFR podcast. Link is in the description. Please go follow their channel. They do live streams as well. I'll be on there very, very soon. So we'll be able to see us chop up similar conversation, probably with just as much excitement overall, but make sure you guys go hit that subscribe button. Link is in the description, and also they put their handles on the screen as well. So guys, let's go to the comment section real quick. So guys, make sure that you put your comments in the live chat right now. We'll make sure to answer them. And we got a super chat already from Tito saying,
hey, that's our boy Tito.
So
yeah,
man, that's your guys guy. Okay, Tito's comes over every now and then.
I'll say Tito be everywhere. He's great though. Yeah, we love Tito.
I think he's on like every Bears channel.
Yeah, he's
which
everywhere.
Is good. There's a lot of people that, I mean, it's such a big market. You know, you don't realize that until you really get into like the podcast game. As you know, Nick, it's people love Chicago sports, especially the Bears. So shout out to Tito.
You know who? Absolutely, shout out to Tito. Bear down. If you guys haven't put a bear down in the live chat yet, make sure to do that, or an FGB. That's my favorite one. Whenever the live chat just goes crazy with FGB. I hope that Don Burr is in here today. I haven't checked yet, but Don Burr always seems to come by. So
he'd be everywhere.
Detroit
too.
fan? Is that the Detroit fan? Okay.
Yeah,
he'd be everywhere too. He's just like Tito. He's everywhere too. We love it.
I'm looking. All right. Well, we got Phil. We got that's my guy Phil, always checking in. One of the OG followers. Quickly, Vicky, for you, he'll be wearing a Hallis number 7, a full bear head. And there's your Canada right there.
There you go. Let's go.
Sounds like you're meeting up with Bruja. You got to sneak him over.
If you're wearing a full bear head, I'm sure I won't miss.
That's an easy one to spot.
Yeah, that might be an easy one to spot in the crowd. So even with that many people, that'd be dope. If I see you, I'll pull up and say what's up.
And make sure that obviously you go follow your guys' live stream, because you'll be calling in and he can look out for you guys. And he'll be I think there's going to be a lot of hopping from live streams the night of the draft party, because we have one here. You guys have yours. The Windy City has theirs. CHGO has theirs. I mean, like everyone's got live streams going. So
there should be so much content.
It's our Super Bowl, man. You got this. It's going to be a big night for sure.
This is the only time I hope we ever have the number 1 pick ever again in my life. And if we do, it should be a while. It should be a while. But if we do, I hope it's not owned by the Bears. I like that this was owned by Carolina.
Yeah,
we have the number 9.
Thankfully.
And then just before we get back into this topic, we got JD calling in saying bear down. We got Vizo Joe calling in for you guys right now.
Yeah, he'd be on ours too. What's up, Vizo? Yeah, that's an OG on ours as well.
And we got a lot of FGBs up. I don't see Don Burr yet, guys. I don't see him. Someone wake him up. Someone knock on his door. He's lacking. He hasn't seen it yet. He'll absolutely sneak in. And we got Levante calling in, Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Odunze, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, Deontay. That's a super
crazy
fire offense. That's
crazy.
Fire offense. Oh,
yeah, even without Caleb, that's like a pretty wild offense. That's to think we're here. That's what I'm saying. Like to think in just a span of like a year and a half that this is the team. Because even DJ Moore is new. Even Montez Sweat is 6 months. You know what I mean? Like what Poles has done to this team in a span of 2 years is remarkable. And the fact that we're in a good space, a healthy spot with cap space, right? And draft picks. It's like people talk about we only have 4 picks this year, right? Next year we could possibly have 9. So it's just crazy. That's like he was able to build this team up while not, giving up or compromising salary cap in the future, future draft picks and things like that. So hats off.
And that's also don't we still get a third if Ian Cunningham leaves for another team next year?
Yeah. Yep. So that's what I was counting in. I think we have like 7 for next year. And then there's a possible projection that Ian Cunningham leaves, and then I think there was some other player that we could get a compensation for that left this year. Maybe I think maybe Eddie Jackson. We can get like a fifth, maybe. I'm not sure, but I saw where somewhere it could be anywhere from 7 to 9, which is obviously more than the standard 7. So we're going to be in a good, healthy spot.
I still can't believe that Eddie Jackson. I mean, I kind of believe it, but like at the same time, for his veteran status, that Jackson still hasn't been signed anywhere yet. Like, he's not a terrible player, but
no,
obviously the Bears upgraded with Kevin Byard. That's where I'll leave that topic at. But it's crazy that he's still on the market. Quick question before we get back into the rest of it. Also, Don Burr has entered the chat, guys. There he is.
There he is.
He heard us talking.
Man.
So he'll find his way. I was going to say, don't give up hope. Don Burr will appear.
I just want to see his setup in his basement of like 8 different screens. Yeah. 12 screens. You know, I think it's because he'll have 4 going for the Bears, 4 going for the Vikings, 4 going for the Packers, and then 4 going for Detroit, all with different computers set up to them. And then automatic nice chats going to Detroit, and then dislikes going to everybody else.
I love it, though. We love the dedication. Yeah, we love it.
I do. When Don Burr first started coming to the show, I was like, oh, okay, Detroit fan, sweet. And then I'm like, oh, man, here we go. Everybody, oh, my God. Oh, no, we got a new I know what that means.
Friendly Dom. He's a friendly Dom Burr.
Friendly Dom Burr. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Well, back away from Dom Burr real quick. Let's go into overall the top 30 visits, guys, because there's been a lot. And shout out to our man Deke for putting together a really good overall look at how it is. So I'm going to share real quick with you guys. All right, let me start sharing my screen real quick. I'm feeling like a little bit of a boomer right now. So
I feel like that all the time.
All right.
Been there.
Tech, right? Yeah.
We were talking about this before the show, guys, how like all of us have separate jobs and we're just tired from working 2 jobs right now. So the brains aren't fully there at the moment. But can you guys see my screen right now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, cool. So shout out to our man Deke, who will be actually at our draft party. So if you guys want to meet him, he will be one of the live streamers for us. But he put together a really nice list, and there's a second list down here that I can get to. I can't zoom out right now. But the top 30 visits that have been reported so far by the Bears. So obviously you got Caleb Williams from an offensive standpoint, Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, Malik Nabers, Brock, Xavier Worthy, Zach Frazier, and Karan Ogmenjabi, along with Joe Alt, Jackson Powers Johnson, Brendan Rice, and Cedric Van Pran. From a defensive standpoint, Dallas Turner, Chop Robinson, Leatu Latu, who was yesterday. Shout out to Dave for reporting that one. Namiha Pritchett from Auburn, Elijah Jones, Boston College, Cam Hart, Notre Dame, and Jared Verse from Florida State. So I'm going to start with Dave real quick on this one. Out of this list, who are some of the names that you were really excited about to see from a top 30 visit standpoint?
Caleb Williams, that was pretty cool. I'm just kidding. I'm honestly the big ones you kind of just expect. Brock Bowers is kind of exciting. I know he gets some love, but I mean that's a sneaky one depending on if all 3 receivers go and the Bears, don't go defense. I think that could be a really I think it could be an honest pick, even though they have set like you said with Gerald Everett and then Cole Kmet. Let's see here. What was the bottom one? JPJ. I love that one. I saw his, I don't know who tweeted it, but I think it was him with like the solar glasses or something like that outside of Hallis Hall. So Jackson Powers Johnson is honestly one of my favorite picks in this draft. I don't think the Bears are going to be able to get him unless they do trade back. But if they do trade and they're able to gather some picks, JPJ would be awesome because then you're set, man. You're set for 10, 15 years. I'm not saying Jason Kelce, but that's the type of prospect Jackson Powers Johnson is. And then your line is looking really good and you can get some picks in return. You know how Ryan Poles likes to trade back. So with the number 9, because it's definitely going to be the number 9 you'd be trading back if Jackson Powers Johnson is your number 1 guy. Who are you trading back with and what is the expected package you would receive? Yeah, I mean, for me, it's whoever's more desperate, right? Like, it just depends who's really going to want to get up there to either get a quarterback, say one of the top 4 quarterbacks, say 3 go, and then there's one maybe like a JJ McCarthy or something like that, where a prospect that a team such as the Vikings, I know that would be weird to see in a divisional trade, but a team that is desperate enough to give up more than they probably like to, that would be the best bet. Because like right now, the Bears, honestly, if I'm leaning towards that number 9, I think you just go get a blue chip or go get a guy, go get an elite player that's going to make a big impact right away. Not saying that JPJ wouldn't, or someone else like maybe in the 20s or even 14, depending where you trade back. But for me, whoever's desperate enough to give you the best package there, so I know it all depends on who's available and how this draft really shakes out through those first 8 picks or so. Because that's where, if a quarterback is sitting there at 9, right, Nick, that's where it gets really interesting, where you can really control, like how the Bears control the draft at 1, you get to 9, and there's one quarterback that 3-4 teams may really like to maybe move up and get. All it takes is that right there, and you could be looking at, a couple day 2 picks, depending how far you go.
I'm with you. I don't think Minnesota is going to end up trading up. Definitely past number 9 in order to get like a JJ McCarthy or whoever their guy is, because they did get 2 first rounders. Now they'll package them and move them up.
And Minnesota is willing to deal with the division. Look at TJ Hawkinson, right? Like look at those trades. So
I'm so Ficky, before I want to hear some of your favorites so far. I'm with you. I would love Jackson Powers Johnson. It's just that from a blue chip standpoint, I'm not saying he's not a blue chip guy, but my number 1 from an offensive standpoint, and call me absolutely crazy, if he somehow falls to 9, I got to take Joe Alt. Like that's, I've seen some mock drafts where he falls to 9 because of just trade ups and people taking quarterbacks and wide receivers. But from an offensive standpoint, I think that the one that makes the most sense, that is most likely, is Odunze. And I know, Dave, you like him a lot too. And I just like that wide receiver trio would be unbelievable. From a defensive standpoint, absolutely. Just imagine you have all 3 of your top guys are above 6 foot. All of them run under a 4.45 40 time. And you just, everyone just fits so well into that offense. And then you have Caleb Williams, new best friend for the next couple of years. Vicky, before, we can hit on the defense. We're going to hit on the defense in a little bit, but not Caleb Williams wise. Who is your favorite top 30 visit so far?
Oh, man. Well, we'll probably lead to this later, but there's someone on here I wish was on the list that I might want at 9, but we'll get to that. But I'd say my favorite one, you kind of took mine. Like Joe Alt, I think is good, but I don't think he's going to land that far, because Chargers, if they don't trade out, I think they're going to take Joe Alt, because Jim Harbaugh loves offensive linemen, and his track record shows that, and he will tell you how much he loves offensive linemen. If not them, the Titans have no tackles. So they're probably going to take one as well. Yeah. And I think that if Joe Alt goes to 5, either Fuwanga or Fashanu is probably going to be taken by the Titans in front of us as well. So, but I agree. He falls there, you got to snag him. As much as I love Braxton Jones, like Joe Alt seems like that blue chip type of guy. But I'd say my favorite out of this list, which I think would be a really good fit, and you may not need to take him at 9. Maybe you trade back, but is Jared Verse, right? Dave loves Dallas Turner, which I totally understand, right? Like athletic freak, right? His ceiling seems maybe a little bit higher. I see Jared Verse's floor, though, a little bit higher. And then also, if you look at the build of Jared Verse and the type of defense he played in and the type of player he is, I think it fits more in alignment with the 4-3 Flus Tampa 2 type defense, where he's really good against the run, right? And then he's good against the pass too, but it's not like he's so pass heavy, right? Honestly, you want to look at something that's comparable on their own team. He's Montez Sweat in essence, right? Montez Sweat's a little bit more of a freak, but you look at Montez Sweat, he's a good pass rusher, great pass rusher, but he's just as dominant against the run. He may even be a better defender against the run than he is against the pass, which is crazy to say because he had 12 sacks last year. So I do love that they bring him in, because it just seems like if you're going to go defense, that's the defensive route. Like that is number 1 to me. I won't be mad about Dallas Turner either, right? I think that's great. Another one, which we mentioned, which I'm glad which actually is probably the most important visit, which seems crazy, like on paper, but it's Laiatu Latu. And that's because what happens when you do the 30 visit, right? Medicals. So they can look at that and decide right then and there, is that something that we can really move on from? I mean, or is that somebody we want to take? And the issue with Latu with the neck injury is you think of who was I can't think of him now, linebacker for the Cowboys, neck brace. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, he's no longer in the league. He's got like three names. Why can't
Van Der Esch?
Van Der Esch. Yes. So he had a neck injury too. The thing was, like, he came out hot rookie year. Second, sophomore year, he's still playing well. But with the neck injuries, they say that can be like a 3 to 4 year type of thing where you don't see it early on. So getting that information, they can maybe decide like, hey, they're looking not only at short term, but long term. Is this someone that's going to be out of the league in 4 years because of the neck injury, right? I don't know, but I'm saying it's good that they're getting that, because we've talked about it, Dave. Like, what with some of these 30 visits, what are you getting out of it, right? They've seen so much tape of these players. It's not like they come in and go, oh, wow, you were number 5. Now you're number 50 on our board, right? Like, you may move like 1 or 2 spots due to like the temperament, how you're viewed as a leader, but they've done so much investigative work on these players. So I think that's why that one is the biggest, because the one thing they can't evaluate yet is his medicals. And this is the only player on there where like the biggest question is medicals. So I'm glad that he's on that list. And I know we're going offense heavy in this draft's offensive heavy, but I'm glad that they're also looking at the defense, because let's be real, we do have holes on that side as well.
I think he would be also, and Dave, I know that you got to dip in and out, so feel free.
I'll be right. Yeah, I will try to be right back. You got my message?
Yeah. Yep. No worries.
Cool.
No worries.
All right,
do what you got to do.
I'll be right back. Appreciate y'all.
Cool. So Vicky, going off of what you're saying, wait, what happened? Okay, so I can't see the comments right now. I'm looking from another live stream part. So from what you said about Latu, I think he'd be the number 1 edge if it wasn't for his neck injuries. I really do. He's so athletic. He's built but the thing that makes him so scary is that he can play interior and on the outside. Like, that's just, and Poles loves his versatile guys because he's built so athletically. He's built like a tank, like good, solid player. But you hit the nail on the head. Bringing him in to see his medicals is huge. And I mean, that's why we didn't take on Larry Ogunjobi a couple of years ago, because he didn't pass his medicals. And which I'm actually happy that happened, low key, strictly because of the fact that, we got Justin Jones, who I thought did a pretty good job. How did you feel about Justin Jones? Yeah, he got paid in Arizona. How did you feel about Justin Jones when he was in Chicago?
No, I think Justin Jones. No. I think Justin Jones did a great job, and I think that's why he got paid. Now, obviously, we probably wouldn't pay him that much, right? But that's free agency. You're going to overpay because you're getting bid. But like, he was a solid piece, and I also love to go back to your point of Poles, like, not moving on with Ogunjobi. I think what we've seen with Poles is like, he's very strict about like the parameters that he sets, right? Whether that be his evaluation of the player, whether that be the contract, or whether that be health concerns, right? I know that was earlier on. I think that was his first signing, so we didn't know it at the time. But now we kind of look at all the information we have now, and it goes, no, that's a good move, because surprisingly or not, there's other GMs out there that necessarily wouldn't have cut ties with that, especially a new GM, right? That's your first signing, your first big signing, and it falls through, right? That's not a good look, you know what I mean? So I just love how like he hasn't hit on everything, right? But he's set a goal, he set a vision, and he stayed true to it. And that's why we're so excited with this offseason, because look at what he's built in just this short amount of time. So yeah, so I think Justin Jones did a great job. You know who's actually, who may have done even better, for at least for the price point they got him, and was one of his first signings in season? Andrew Billings. Like,
100%.
Balled out, bro. So,
dude, I cannot talk highly enough about Andrew Billings. Like, an absolute steal of a signing. And he, for a 1-year, $4 million contract this year, for a guy that produced pretty good numbers overall. I mean, total steal. Poles fleeced that. Poles fleeced that. I mean, we didn't go out and pay for, Christian Wilkins, who got I think it was like 20 something million plus.
Yeah, 100
I'm
total.
good with that. And then Ficky, I want to put this back out there because I got a lot of grief for it when I tweeted about it a couple months ago. But and I want to hear what the chat has to say about, we got some trade backs going on right now. Everyone put your trade back for number 9 because we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So put you in the live chat right now. Justin Jones had literally almost the same exact stats this past year as Wilkins, minus sacks. Wilkins just had more sacks, but from a tackle standpoint, tackles for loss standpoint, quarterback hits, very, very similar ballpark. And we were paying him a quarter of what Miami was, or now what the Raiders are going to pay. So,
yeah,
Dave, we kind of went on a tangent.
Dude, we know tangents. Ficky and I,
we know plenty of those. Yeah. Welcome to the BFR podcast, the leaders of tangents. But no, I think that's good, right? That's a sign of a good GM. Like, obviously, I'm an advocate for paying these players. They should get their money. But from a GM perspective, you're trying to get the most with the least amount of money. So you see signings like this and you're like, oh, that's fantastic. Even if you want to look at what his signing in the offseason with Jalen Johnson, right? Like, Jalen Johnson's getting paid less per year than what his franchise tag is and still got a good extension. You know what I mean? So, like, he still got his money, but, like, it's not like he overpaid like crazy. So, and I think that goes back to my comment to start this all off, is that Poles is he says, this is it, and I'm sticking to it, right? Whether it be the medicals, whether it be his board, because he talked about that on the Pat McAfee show. It's like, it's our board. He's mentioned it multiple times. Or it's his contract value, or the amount that he's going to pay. So I just love that. So I like people that are like definite about it and they don't get shifted too easily. You're going to make mistakes. There's no GM out there perfect, but like, if you're convicted on something, I'm cool with that. And it's paid off so far.
I think, like, his really big mistake was obviously Claypool. Like, that was a mistake. Every GM has a mistake. Like, there's no perfect move. It's how many wins. What does Jordan Belfort say? People don't judge me on my wins. They judge me on my losses because I have so few. And he definitely gets judged because of Claypool. And I think there was one more signing that I can't think of off the top of my head that didn't work out. But exactly, like, I can't think of something major.
Yeah.
And, the Claypool thing had happened. Okay, sorry. It kind of happened recently, like the Fields trade, which and I want to hear your guys' thought on it before we go into the number 9 trade back, is I think Poles did everything right from not only Justin Fields' standpoint, but also the fact that he made it look good for outside players. Like, if something's not working out, he cares about his players as a GM. He knows that these guys have feelings. He called Justin Fields, did everything before, but we still got a 6th-round pick. We could have let Fields walk and not done anything. So we got something out of it. But overall, I think Poles is just such a good GM. And Vicky, I know you and we've been chatting about for a while. So Dave, what are your overall thoughts? Like, what is your just best grades of Poles and best pickup so far?
Yeah, but best pickups, you look at the trades. You look at the trades for the most part. Claypool, sure, it's a miss, but what I like about it is he realized it. He didn't stick it out. Keep him, for longer than he needed to. He kind of owned up to it, got him out of the locker room. And I'll be honest, I had high hopes for Claypool as well. I think everyone, when that trade was made, you ask pretty much anybody, maybe outside of Pittsburgh, like there's a lot of optimism. So the fact it didn't work out, you can't even put that 100% on Poles, because I would have made that deal too. Now the second, like I said, I think we all were like, okay, that's a little high that it was our second and not, I think it was the Ravens. That would have been a lot better, a little easier pill to swallow. And I think we all realized that once it was confirmed. I think at first it was the Ravens pick, and then we were all like, yeah. And then no, it ended up being the Bears. So that was tough. That's a miss. But at the same time, the other two trades, you look at, Montez Sweat changed the defense. You're looking at a top 10 unit last 6-7 games of the year. And then you have Keenan Allen. I know he hasn't played a snap yet, but we talked about it earlier, what he brings to not just the Bears, but a rookie quarterback, right? Setting him up for success is important. So I think the trades, he's probably has more hits right now than misses. You have the center they just had. Why is the name escaping me? Ryan Bates. That's a good one. I think that's a solid starter. kind of a little bit maybe better than Lucas Patrick. Similar signing right there. But for me, Ryan Poles, I want to give him his flowers, but right now, this is where you're going to find out how really good of a GM he is because of Caleb Williams. Like, his development is paramount to how long and how much success he's going to have. Like, this is going to, we talked about, Justin Fields' decision. He made his decision. Now he's going to be judged on it, how he develops him, what he brings, how he continues to build. I don't want a 1 year fling like 2018. I don't want 2 years. I want 5 to 10 years sustained success where we're actually every year, maybe not winning the Super Bowl. It's like, hey, we're in the playoffs every freaking year. That's what I want as a fan. Like, that's what we deserve because we go a couple years without even, sniffing 8-9 wins sometimes. It's terrible. So for me, horrible. This is where we're really going to find out how good Ryan Poles is. And that's where he'll be judged over these next, not where he had to tear it down because he had to. And that was a tough decision. And I give him his flowers, like I said, but now it's about what is he going to do with this window, this cap space, these draft picks. And it all starts with 1 and 9, so right now I give him an A. I don't think you can give him anything lower right now just because he's made some tough decisions. He's had some misses, but he's had a lot of wins. And it's exciting, man. He's the reason why we're where we're at right now. So, absolutely. And
name another Bears GM that has truly stripped it down to the bottom of the barrel. And I mean, Pace tried.
As I say, he did a little bit. Yeah, he did in the beginning when Pace signed, when we first came in, right? Because he was here for a long time. I think we forget it. Pace was here for like 7 years. Yeah, that's a long time. But when he first came in, like the team was in a similar situation. Obviously, it's not complete apples to apples, but he did do a teardown. What he did that was so good was actually on the defensive side. And you look at it like Ryan Poles is a pass offensive lineman. Ryan Pace was a pass defensive lineman, right? D-end, I think. And he did a pretty good job of like making sure the defense was set. As we saw, like, even though the team sucked, like that defense, especially from like 2020 to 2016, they were top 15. And obviously 2018, they were number 1, right? So I think his biggest thing was he couldn't get the quarterback right. And this is a quarterback driven league. So just like Dave said, Ryan Poles is now, the pressure's on because Ryan Poles is now attached to a quarterback, right? He was not attached to Fields, but now when you think of Caleb Williams, you're going to think of Ryan Poles. So if Caleb Williams doesn't work, that means Ryan Poles is probably out the door, right? Because that's the same thing we saw with Mitch that we saw recently. So I think that's why, we agree it's an A for him now, but it's like, hey, now the pressure's on. You've done a good job, but let's start to see that Buffalo run. Let's start to see that Ravens run. Like, you got your quarterback, and actually, forget all that. Let's go see that Chiefs run. Let's go build a dynasty, right? Let's go see multiple wins every year. Even when your team loses, players, you don't get as many acquisitions. You know that you have a chance to go far because of your quarterback. And I pray to the Bears gods that we finally got him.
If we don't, we are truly cursed. We are a truly cursed franchise that just can't get the quarterback right. Bring back Andy Dalton. That's all I'll say.
Red Rocket, baby.
Dalton. Yeah, the Red Rocket. Again, super nice guy. Super nice guy. Nothing against him. But we asked earlier in the live chat, switching topics, a big reason why everyone's here today is what us three would do with that number 9 pick. And there's a lot you can do because you can get a blue chip player at 9. Dave, it sounds like you're kind of leaning towards that right at the moment. Vicky, I'm kind of hearing 2 separate options from you there. And we all have said that Poles is known for trading back. He's 2 for 2 so far in both his drafts as the Chicago Bears general manager, trading back a pick. It's not the first pick, it's a pick. So number 9 is definitely the likely out of the 2 first rounders that we would trade back. He could trade back 75 depending on who's on the board still. I don't see 122 getting traded back, but I've seen crazier things. So, Dave, I'm going to start with you on this. What would you do? Or what are you doing with the number 9? You can do who you're choosing, just not moving, and then the trade back that you do.
Yeah, so to start off, if I'm staying at 9, which is what I would prefer to do, accumulate talent. You look at next year's draft, Vicky and Nick, I think you guys talked about it, about how much ammo they have next year, where you can really, you have 2 seconds, you have your first. You're just really set up to really bring in some, impact players, but add some more depth, especially with a rookie quarterback and everything. And then I think there's 6th or 7th in cap space in 2025 as well. So looking at the future, that's why I'm like, just do it. This draft is not deep. It's been talked about, the top guys, top analysts, they realize, and even Ryan Poles said it himself, this is a good year to kind of only have about 4 picks, but the value is what, top 5, top 6 in the NFL right now as far as the value of those picks, because you have 1 and 9. So for me, stay at 9, and hopefully, in my opinion, you go and get the receiver. One of the big 3, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, and of course, Odunze. For me, if any of those guys are there, load up on talent, load up on the offensive side of the ball. The defense is already playing top 10 unit, and they don't even have a secondary. They don't even have a second, guy for Montez Sweat right now, like a real second guy. So for me, if you want to, I heard about, maybe taking a tackle, but for me, this is why you stick with Braxton Jones one more year. We talked about the ammo next year in 2025, both draft and free agency. Say he's not great. He's kind of just, doesn't take a step forward. He's just what Braxton Jones is, in 2023. He repeats that. Okay, maybe he moves on, or maybe you move on from him, and or you keep him, because I think you have some flexibility with his contract still. So for me, all of these factors make it easy to pull the trigger on a premium position, like a receiver, maybe even edge. But of course, it all really depends, like I said, how everything falls, especially with those top 4 quarterbacks. And which receiver goes. Because, you can look at Odunze going to the Chargers to replace Keenan Allen. And that guy who has been mocked to Chicago so often is off the board, at 5? Then it gets really interesting, because is Marvin Harrison Jr.? I think he's gone within the top probably 4. Then you can maybe get Malik Nabers, or do you trade up? We don't know. But for me, if any of those guys are there, those receivers, you take them. Build up, because Keenan Allen is a little bit older. You're 1 injury away from looking at only Keenan Allen or DJ Moore being an impact player, because Tyler Scott, no offense to these guys, there's nobody that scares you outside of maybe those 2. So if you lose one, a defense is able to lock in. Of course, you have Cole Kmet, you have some weapons, DeAndre Swift. But for me, kind of going long here, just go offense. Go get it. Even Brock Bowers, I would be excited about, because he does something that Cole Kmet could even dream of, as far as just the way that he plays football, how fast he is. He's sneaky, athletic, and I think he would just be such a fun player to add. It'd be a crazy tight end room, and no offense, Gerald Everett is probably going to be tight end 3, and maybe even a trade candidate, depending. But I think it would just be fun to see. So for me, if they stick at 9, which I prefer, go get an impact offensive player, and then if they're trading back, again, whatever, because for me, there's going to be offers. You just got to take the best one. I can't predict which team is going to be there, or who's going to be more desperate. But for me, I guarantee you, just right now, doesn't even matter how the chips fall, there's going to be a player that a team likes, a team loves, and cannot stand to see somewhere else. And so they're going to send some picks to the Bears to probably get up to 9. For me, I think it's probably most likely going to be a quarterback that falls, because I don't think they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, real quick like that. I think there's going to be probably, in my opinion, JJ McCarthy. I heard a lot of buzz. I just don't think he's going to go in the top 5, top 6. So for me, I think that's where you go. You just whatever. If you really want to trade it back, all the receivers are gone. You move off that pick, and maybe you go only to 13, 14, something like that. And you still get maybe a premium player, maybe an edge guy or something like that. So a lot of talking, but that's where I stand.
I'm with you on the JJ McCarthy hype, by the way. Like, you look at his stats and you're like, okay, he's good on 3rd down, he's good on 4th down. Great.
He is.
But he threw not even 200 yards in the national championship game. He didn't even break 2,300 passing yards. I'm a huge Bo Nix guy. 5,000 passing yards, 50 touchdowns, 300.
There was a whole half where he didn't throw the ball. And for me, if you're
McCarthy,
that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, that's a flat. I know, like I said, I like JJ. But like for me, and I know the circumstances, I know they had the, able to run the ball, but for me, it's like, if he is such a star, if he's such a can't miss, and Jim Harbaugh said that, he's a great quarterback, and I think he might be, but for me, to take a top 5, maybe even top 8 pick with him, I just think that's a little, too much, too high for me, but I'm not a GM, so, and rightfully so.
Icky, I think you're thinking the same way.
I mean, the B devil. First of all, I'm not saying I would go up and trade for JJ, so I agree with you on that. But the devil's advocate, and I heard Daniel Jeremiah talking about this. He's like, you can't blame the players for what they weren't asked to do, right? Like Jim Harbaugh in his career is run heavy, so maybe they're going in and saying, hey, look, we know you didn't pass a lot, but you also weren't given the opportunity. Now, again, I'm not going. If I was a GM, which I'm not, let's make that clear, I'm not going all the way up to like 5 or 4 for JJ McCarthy. Like, unless the only reason why that would happen, right? The only reason why people trade is because there's other people thinking of trading, right? You don't trade up if there aren't rumors or rumbling. We traded up one spot to get Mitch at 2 because there was rumblings that someone else was trying to trade up to grab him, right? If you think he's going to fall there, then you just stay pat. And so that's the problem, right? Because now what happens with these players is their value is based off where they get picked. If JJ McCarthy gets picked at number 5 or where he gets picked at number 25, JJ McCarthy's skill level is still the exact same. He did not change anything, but how you associate with JJ McCarthy is now that's a top 5 pick. Someone gave up this amount of assets for you. So now you have to make those assets make sense. The removal of those assets, your skill set has to be better than that. So it's almost like, like as the player, that's got to suck, right? But to kind of answer the question, I just feel like I wouldn't go up that high. And I don't think it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, because historically in the NFL draft, there hasn't been that case. And even with top 10, I think it's only been like once or twice in the past 20 years where there's been 4 quarterbacks in the top 10. The record, there's some drafts I've seen where they said 6 quarterbacks, right? I could see 5 in the first round. Obviously, Caleb, Drake, Jaden, in no particular order, JJ, and then Michael Penix. But there could be a Bo Nix. Maybe Bo Nix goes in there for Michael Penix. But it would be crazy to see 6 go in the first round. And we always see it every year that there's one quarterback that slides all the way up. And you're like, what the heck? And there's one that slides all the way back, right? Happens all the time. So I think, I think there's going to be that slide back with JJ, and there might be a slide up. Like maybe you said, Nick, maybe someone's really inclined. The Raiders are really inclined with someone like Bo Nix or a Michael Penix. You know what I mean? So, and I'll end with this. I think what's great about this draft is that we know 1. Okay. So that's good. Like the stress of me, I don't have to worry about that. It's like Caleb Williams is the guy, but 2 through 4, you're already like even 2 itself. Is it Jaden? Is it Drake? And then obviously that makes a decision on, there's been reports. Schefter talked about Patriots. They could be trading back, right? And there's so many possible trade backs, even the Jets at 10, us at 9, right? The only sure bet thing really is like maybe the Titans are probably going to take an offensive tackle. Other than that, it's like we have no idea really what's going to go on. So I think that's going to be really exciting. Is that first off, I can be calm at the draft because I know Caleb Williams is coming, but like 2 through 8 is going to be nerve-wracking as hell, and that's going to make it exciting. So
I think that this is going to be the wildest draft in regards to people constantly switching positions. Just with all the hype and all the situations, I couldn't agree more. I see Michael Penix fall into the second round, like early second to say, but I see a lot of people putting him there. I'd put JJ McCarthy in that situation versus Penix. I think Penix is a better quarterback, just in my personal opinion.
I agree, at least right now.
At least right now. I want to go back to Dave's comment real quick. I think Brock Powers would be super cool to pick up, but I think I would be also shocked at the same time because it's not a need. We have 2 strong tight ends, but I would love to get him as trade bait. Like if someone's like pounding the table, giving the Bears an offer, like, hey, we want him. And the Bears are like, nope, you got to give us one more pick. And they're like, we can't do that. Bears take him. And then that team is like, oh, screw it. Like, whatever, send it to the Bears. I didn't think the Bears would actually do it. So that's why I would be excited about Brock Bowers as a trade back piece.
NBA stuff.
Facts.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good point though, Nick, because guess who Brock Bowers has been mocked to a lot? The team after us, the New York Jets. So people know that, hey, Jets need either an offensive lineman or a tight end, right? That's kind of their biggest things. We're going to help out our 58-year-old Aaron Rodgers on Owaskua, right? So it could be actually the idea of like, oh, we could get Brock Bowers might be a great trade candidate anyways for a team that wants to hop up in front. Because I agree with Dave, right? Brock Bowers is easily a blue chip player, right? I think Joe Klatt had him as number 3 of his top 50 players in this draft. The only problem with us is that we did sign Gerald Everett, which I just talked about. It was a top 18 tight end. And, forgot about Cole Kmet, who's easy playing like a top 5 tight end. So, but to be a devil's advocate here, Poles has talked about best player. His draft has been very much best player available. It has not been need. So if that is the case, and you see that blue chip player there, and maybe Poles is thinking long term, I would be shocked, but I don't think I would be like as shocked. I would probably be more shocked. This might be a hot take. I'll be more shocked if Joe Alt falls to 9 and then we took him than if we took Brock Bowers at 9.
Whoa. Okay.
Because I don't think Joe Alt's going to make it to 9. That would be more of a shock. But like, I could see us picking Brock Bowers over like the possibility of getting someone like Joe Alt.
Yeah. And also like with Joe Alt, that's definitely trade bait right there. Cause there's so many teams that could use a blue chip left tackle like that. And we do have Braxton Jones, like Dave was saying. My whole thing.
But Joe Alt would be a huge upgrade.
Huge upgrade.
You'd be locked.
Okay, thank you.
Your tackles are just set for 10 years. And if you have your quarterback, that would be
2
nuts.
anchors right there, 2 bookshelves.
So I feel you, Nick.
It's nothing against Braxton Jones. I mean, okay, so my dad's tuning in right now, and he hates Braxton Jones. Like, he's one of those guys that is. He calls him Charles Leno. He's like, I can't stand a guy that gets penalized all the time.
No, time out.
Just hang on. So his whole thing is like, he plays fine, but how many times has Fields gotten him out? Because if you look at his Braxton Jones numbers, he doesn't give up a lot of sacks. Gives up a crap load of quarterback hurries, though. That's his thing. Also, Braxton Jones gets penalized very much. I mean, at the beginning of the season, in the first 4 games that he played, I think he had 8 he had 8 total penalties. I think 6 of them were holding, 2 of them were false starts. That's a momentum killer right there. And Joe Alt, I looked, he's been penalized twice in his 3 years at Notre Dame. So, I'll let you go, Vicky. Go ahead. Like, I was defending my dad's point.
No. Another one. Your dad has a great point. Like, it's valid for him to feel that way. My thing's not even Braxton Jones. Is the Charles Leno slander, and that's because look, if you look at a tackle right in the career he's had, yes, Charles Leno had tons of penalties, but like for a tackle, he's had a pretty good career. Right? It's not a Hall of Fame career. But like, even when he went to Washington, he was one of their best offensive linemen, right? He's never been that top 5 tackle, but he's had a very good career where he signed multiple contracts with multiple teams. It is hard to find good linemen. And this actually leads to my point why I'd be cool with Joe Alt. If you look at the hit rate, why they'd go a tackle instead of a wide receiver. If you look at the hit rate of positions, right, of drafts, I think like Pro Bowl, like if you're taking like the average, like typically for it to be a Pro Bowler for a tackle, it has to be closer to like top 15. I think it's like 13 or something like that. Pick 13. For wide receiver Pro Bowlers, bro, this is crazy. The average pick is pick 43. You're that's the 11th pick in the second round. And I think if you look at the Pro Bowlers last year, how many of them were drafted in the first round? 1. So we notice that these wide receivers are getting better and better and better. A lot of that, it starts at a younger age. A lot of these athletes who used to be running backs, right, or would have been running backs in the early 2000s, 2010s, are now like, oh, no, I'm going to go play wide receiver. That's the way the league is now. So we're seeing a bigger influx of talent that's coming in. And so, but you're not necessarily seeing that with the tackles. It's still in the case where, like, with a lot of these offensive linemen, like, your best, like, if you want a good tackle and you draft them top 10, they're most likely, it's not perfect, but they're most likely going to be at least good to great. And you might get lucky and find Hall of Fame at that level. Now to kind of pivot to what I would do at 9, another position that kind of falls within that group as well is defensive tackle. I did a thread on Twitter about defensive tackles and like I looked at the past 10 drafts.
I saw this. This was great.
Yes.
This was a good thread.
If you look
great
at
thread.
I did top 10 first, but like you got Sheldon Richardson, Quentin Williams, Jalen Carter's probably going to be good, right? But then even if you look at like top 13, 15, you're getting people like Fletcher Cox. You're getting people like, I don't know if you heard of them, Aaron Donald, right? So you could go through most of it. And I think if I remember correctly, there was like one miss where you're like, that guy is like a complete miss, right? Everyone else at least been all pro at some point, Pro Bowl, or a couple in there that'll be Hall of Fame. I think Fletcher Cox, and obviously Aaron Donald is going to be Hall of Fame.
That one's messing with you, Ficky.
Bro, I don't know why I keep going Cox every time. Fletcher Cox.
Which, who is a free agent still, by the way, which is
crazy, but he's much older.
Free agent.
Yeah, he's a dog.
He had 6 sacks last year. I mean, I wouldn't mind the Bears picking him up on a friendly contract. Like,
that's my point, though. If you get those defensive tackles early, they typically doesn't mean you can't miss, right? They typically hit, and they hit well. And so that brings you to who I think we would take at 9, or slight trade back, and maybe you could answer both, right? Because maybe you don't have to take it at 9. But this man is a little bit undersized, but they said that about Aaron Donald too. But you look at his metrics against the pass rush, which is great, right? As undersized, you should be good in the pass rush. But he's also dominant in the run game. His success against the run game is also very high, top in both categories. And that's Brian Murphy II from Texas. This man tested out amazing. His tape also shows that. And the thing about defensive tackle, just like quarterback, it's one of the few positions that is an impact on every play. Every play. If it's a run play, obviously, like up the middle, stretches, things like that, maybe not as much, but still, you can blow it up. You see that with Aaron Donald and these great guys, right? But they affect the run game and they affect the pass game. And they're almost, if you have a interior defensive lineman that is very effective in the pass game, it's more disruptive than the edge. Why is that? When there is disruption around the edge and you have someone coming at you around the pocket, you step up into it as a quarterback, right? If you've got space in there, you can buy yourself a little bit of time, step in. We saw Caleb Williams do all this all the time, shift in, stepping in, moving to the left, and delivering a strike. When the middle's blown up, you're then forced to go outside. And if your edges, they don't even have to be great. If they just have decent contain, boom, pressure right there, sack right there, fumble right there. So, and then also tie that in with the defense that we're trying to lose. He said it himself, the 3 tech is the motor to this defense, the most important position to this defense. That hasn't been filled. Now, Javon Dexter had a better second half of the year, had some rookie up and downs, but he's looking good. I think even Montez Sweat on the Greenlight pod with Chris Long was saying, like, boy, get ready for Javon. Like, he's going to be a dog this year. So we don't have that inside information. Maybe they're really high on him, so they don't take him. But if they took Byron Murphy, like, I think that I have more confidence that would hit than I do Rome and Odunze, and I love Rome. But just because of, if you look at the history of the draft, a lot of times there's one wide receiver. Like, if there's 3 that go in there or multiple that go in there, there's one wide receiver out of like the tier 1 group that doesn't pan out. It happens all the time.
Every year.
Here's a question then, right? So if we think that happens every year, out of the 3 wide receivers, there's probably one that's going to. We probably don't think it's Marvin, right? Like, I feel like that would be he has the highest floor. Now you're looking at Rome and obviously Malik Nabers. So now you have that 50-50, right? And then you tie that in, Fletcher Cox, right? that's funny. I don't know why I kept doing that, but
I just had to throw it out there because I was like,
no, that's good. No, you gotta
roast
roast me for that. I'm not mad about that. So you tie that in with also that we can find possibly some wide receivers later, like Puka Nacua second round. Cooper Kupp, I don't think was first round. Like, you see this all the time. DJ Moore, was he first? Oh, he was late. He was like 17 or something like that, right? But anyways.
Yeah.
But you see that where there's more likely a miss rate on those wide receivers. And so for that, if they decide to make that decision, and it is with Byron Murphy, not only does his tape back it up, but the history, there's trends that it typically backs it up, just like the tackle. I'd be happy with it. Sorry for the long rant, but I had to put my defensive tackle in there.
So I know that you commented on Twitter earlier. You said you're going to make a take that is going to shock some people, but I agree with it, because I would do something similar, but it would be for his teammate, Tervondre Sweat. I would want to get him on a trade back. And Dave, you kind of hit. So I'm taking both your guys' points and combining them together right now. As you can see, I listen to your guys' show. I trade back the number 9 to New Orleans, and I get 14 and 45.
Okay,
with 14, I can get Brian Thomas Jr., who I'm a huge fan of, by the way. I think that Brian Thomas Jr. Look at the stats compared to Malik Nabers. look at the playing style. I think Malik Nabers is definitely a slightly better route runner. But you get a guy in Brian Thomas Jr. who is 4 inches taller, runs a 0.1 second slower 40, and had more receiving touchdowns than Malik this past year. So I would trade back 9 to 14, take a Brian Thomas Jr. at 14, stack that offense. Great overall, a good blocking wide receiver too. Would learn a lot behind Keenan Allen from a big body wide receiver standpoint. And then at 45, I'm going out and getting Trevonde Sweat if he's available out of Texas. Because him and, like you said, Murphy were just beast. And also, Sweat kind of reminds me of Akeem Hicks in a lot of ways. Just the way they play, like that nasty in the trenches style. So that I would do it. I think the Bears have to trade back. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, didn't he just get DWI too? So he's probably got to fall back, right? Isn't that? Yeah, I think he did. I think
What did?
Am I mixing it up? Who's the guy who just got the DWI? Was it defensive tackle, right? I think it was Sweat. Not to put you guys on the spot, but I think he got a DWI literally like 2 nights ago.
Yeah, he no, you're right. The prospect, arrested for DWI in Texas.
Yeah, so he's gonna.
And it was
drop.
reported.
So
it was reported that he during his visits, his like top 30 visits, he kept on saying, "Hey, don't worry about it," because he's had issues in the past, and so he said, "Hey, don't worry about it. It's behind me." And then, I mean, those parts.
Yeah, I think some report said he was and it was I can't remember who. Probably.
And if we know polls, I mean, he passed on Carter.
Yeah, he's off.
So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, but maybe.
Retract my comment. I'm retracting my comment now.
Hey, if you get him later, if you do trade,
that's what I'm saying. You can get him in the 4th or something now. Maybe if he falls back that far.
Oh, I don't know if he's going to the 4th.
No, 3rd. How about 3rd? You can get him with 75. 75 our pick there. You could possibly get him there.
Well, maybe, actually, you know what? I'm going to retract again, but I'm still going to do the same trade. I'm still going to go out and get Brian Thomas Jr. or Jared Verse, Chop Robinson, one of those guys. Okay, just at 14, still a blue chip type guy.
Yep.
But at 45, I would get Zach Frazier. Because then that gets your center. It's not Jackson Powers Johnson, but Frazier did have a 40 visit with the Bears, and apparently it went really well. That's the reports that I kept seeing. So I think Zach Frazier plays. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Oh, no. Finish that. Mine's totally off topic.
I've seen Zach, like the way he plays reminds me a little bit of how like nasty Olin Kreutz was. Mm-hmm. That's just me though. Yeah. I'm still mind blown by
I'm
this.
not mad about it.
Sorry. Like I'm still like,
see that. Yeah, that was, I couldn't believe it because he was obviously, some people had him going to the 1st round, like late 1st.
Well,
so that's not the case.
I guess I have to redo tomorrow's video now because it was a whole breakdown of him. I don't know how I missed that. I think I was just too hyped because I mean he is a good ball player, but if he has off-field issues, that I hate. So obviously that's not a rumor because that's legit. But I also saw that like Malik Nabers had rumors around him that he has like. I was like, dude, okay.
It happens every year. It happens every year. They did it with Fields. Oh, the man can't read defense. They did it with CJ Stroud last year with his test scores. They always do something. There's a narrative that goes out there that makes these guys look like they're horrible people. It happens every year. They pick a player every year, and it's like, nope, you're going through it.
I want to say this real quick.
Yes.
Odunze, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, none of them are going to miss. None of them.
That's a hot take.
I promise.
How about this then? How about this? I'll do what's more likely, okay?
Okay.
Those 3 don't miss, or those 3 are all gone by 9.
What's more likely?
Yeah. Those 3 don't miss, right? All of them have good careers. Let's say good to great, right? Or they're all gone before 9.
Oh, I think they're all. What kind of question is this?
Oh.
Yeah, it is. I got you stumped.
I'm going to go with it's more likely that they all miss.
Wait, no, they all miss. That's a different one.
Oh no!
Are you saying that they all hit?
Well, hit. They all
hit. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
See,
I'm like, wait, they all suck.
Nick's throwing it out there.
I'm still blown by the sweat thing, man.
No, I agree with you, Nick. I think it's more likely that they all hit than they're all gone. Wait, Vicky over here is making me. So you're saying the question is that they all hit, or that they're all gone by 9? What's more likely, right?
Right. What's more likely? So that means
I would say, they're all. I think it's more likely that they all hit because I think there is going to be some quarterback, movement that's just going to make one of them be available.
Fall.
So
yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. I think I think one of them's gonna. I'm not saying that they won't all hit, right? But I think I trust more that there's going to be, like you said, Dave. Some trade is gonna happen that happens every year that we aren't expected, to where a position, these positional players are moved back. So a quarterback obviously goes up there. And
you know what? I
like
just
the Bears trading the number 1 overall pick for a Hall, Vicky. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, something like that, right? Yes,
Man,
yes, exactly like that.
And I was Team Just. I love Justin, but like, I'm just so thankful we don't have to even talk about that anymore. Like,
yeah,
I know.
That's what I was talking. That's
like you said, Vicky, just to go to the draft and be like, just to be like, not even have to worry about number 1 being like, all right, know what's going to happen. You know,
it's the best of both worlds, because we have the comfort of 1, but we still have the excitement of 9. So it's like, okay, I'm good with this, but let's see what happens.
Do you know how
at 9,
sick it would be though to be like, to be sitting at like 5 somehow, 2. You remember how we talked about, because at one point we were at what, 1 and 3 or 1 and 4.
Bro, one time we were 1 and 2. We were 1 and 2 at one point. We had back to back, bro. Before Montez, we were 1 and 2 at one point. When we started 0-4, 100%.
I think that was week 13. We had the number 1 and number 2, which everyone was like, oh man, the Bears are done. And then suddenly we started winning ball games again. Everyone's like, we're going for the playoffs. Screw the top pick. We got the number 1.
Nick, there's a comment in your chat that says the Cubs are about to start.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I know, because I got to go on the Twitter and live tweet that. Here's one thing for you guys before we close things out. So guys, keep throwing your comments in the live chat, and thank you guys for staying on. This has been super fun.
Oh, so fun. So fun.
Let's go through the top. I'm going to say the top 15 right now. And all of us are going to give our answers about what is each team going to do at that pick. So Bears at number 1. What are they doing?
Caleb. Done. Yeah. Let me sit on that. No, I'm tired of that. It's Caleb.
Dave.
It is Caleb.
I'm going to save that clip right there and just tweet it out and be like, when I asked Dave.
You know what's sad though? The NFL is going to make the Bears wait at least 5 minutes. Guaranteed.
I know.
5 at least. Just
so are we going? Are we going like you go, then I go, and then Vicky goes, or are we just going together?
So I'm just gonna say the team, and I'm gonna say, and you guys say who they're picking. So let's see if the live on this.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the mediator.
Start this over.
I'm the mediator.
Gotcha.
Yeah, let's start over. Okay.
Okay.
All right, rewind. Yeah. We're gonna close this out on a good note. Okay. Yes. So okay, live chat. Make sure that you're in on this. Okay. Chicago Bears at the number 1 pick.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, please.
Okay. So the Bears went quarterback number 1. All right. Washington Commanders at number 2.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden. Okay, I was gonna say Jaden.
Okay, so Jaden. I thought we Jaden and Caleb are gone. Which, by the way, I like Jaden Daniels as a quarterback. Just want to put that out there. We don't need to go super into it, but I think I like Jaden. He's fun to watch. Yeah. He's going to be fun for the Washington Commanders. Okay, absolutely. New England, number 3.
I heard there's trade backs, but Drake May. Yeah, I was gonna say there's been trade backs, but I'm going Drake as well.
That's my thing. We can go. We don't have to agree, right, Vicky and I?
No. You guys say
I'm
what
going
you
there
want,
though.
But it's very cute that you guys agree.
Thank you. Look at that synergy there.
But also,
we've rehearsed this.
It reminds me of when this John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell were figuring out they were best friends or not in Step Brothers.
Yeah, great one.
John Samos. So anyway, all right, let's go. Goated, absolutely.
Goated, yeah.
They were supposed to come out with a number 2. They never did. A little disappointed.
They're probably too old though now, but yeah, I know that would have been fire.
Also, I feel like they'd be canceled with half the comedy that they put out.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Okay, number 4, Arizona Cardinals. This is where we might get some different answers here.
You know what? I think they stay pat. I'm gonna say this is where the first wide receiver goes. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yep, me too. I don't think you can pass on Marvin Harrison Jr. The only thing is maybe if they make a trade with, like the Vikings or something, like where they send a haul, like it would have to be a lot to pass on a guy like.
Let's do no trade ups. Let's just keep it in order like it is right now.
Okay.
Let's
Marvin Harrison.
That makes it easier. Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison. Okay. LA Chargers at number 5.
Joe Alt.
Malik Nabers.
Okay, so
They do need
I think they go
receiver.
receiver. I think they go receiver, man. I think
They don't have
go
anyone.
receiver.
They have Quentin Johnson.
Look at
that's
that.
it.
Look at that room, dude. Like, I think if they can, I think they like a tackle. I do. An alt would be awesome, but I think it would go.
Okay, so Joe Alt. Okay, so Joe Alt, Malik Nabers. So, okay, now we're at the Giants at 6.
Malik Nabers. I think he goes here now.
Okay,
Second wide receiver off the board.
Dave.
Oh, yeah. I'll go Joe.
If he said, thank you. That makes my life easier because now we're back in. Now we're back to
yes.
So switch for the. Okay, switch for that. That was good. Okay, Tennessee Titans at number 7.
I'm gonna go Talise Fuanga from Oregon State. Right, Oregon State, the tackle.
Yep,
the tackle.
They do need a tackle.
Yeah, I can see that with all the board. Yeah, I'll keep it that Fuaga. He's Oregon State. He was the Oregon State guy.
So.
Or
yeah.
No JJ McCarthy. What's wrong with you guys? Just kidding. Okay, let's go. Let's go to number 8 because I guess Atlanta's keeping that. They're not letting him get rid of it, which is kind of weird. But Atlanta Falcons. What are they taking at number 8?
I think they're taking Dave's guy, Dallas Turner. They need edge. Their coach is a defensive head coach.
Yeah.
Welcome to Atlanta.
Turner.
Would you guys see the Bears trading up for Dallas Turner, moving up one spot?
No, I think the only person they trade up for is somehow if they can get Marvin
or Malik.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, that could be.
I think he's
Malik.
viewed. Yeah, I think those two are so close, and nothing against Odunze. I think that's just those 3 are just so good, like so good. I think they're so can't miss. But those 2 are just probably elite, and then Odunze is like great.
So you guys, obviously Caleb Williams went to the Bears, but there's no longer Jaden Daniels. There's no longer Drake May. There's no longer Marvin Harrison. There's no longer Malik or Joe Alt. There's no longer, who did you say for the Titans, Vicky? Sorry.
We both said Fuanga. Yeah.
But I could see JJ going there. McCarthy. Like, I'm just be honest.
But don't they have Will? They have Will Levis, though. You think they already got?
But is Will Levis the guy?
But I don't think they believe in it. JJ is so, like, I think he's really like viewed in a very good light, especially with Harbaugh and everything. I feel like they could bring him in, and it's, even with New York, because I was leaning towards. I know Daniel Jones, but it's like, could New York not go JJ?
They could.
You know,
I
know we're not trading up. I know we're not trading up, so that's kind of where it leaves me, because I think Minnesota I think they maybe leap here. That's where, like, if we're being honest, as far as like maybe Tennessee, New York. I mean, you could even go up to pick number 4
Raiders.
with the Cardinals.
Yeah, easily.
Like, seriously.
If there's gonna be a first team to trade, it'd probably be 4 Cardinals. I agree.
Yeah, I think that could easily be JJ. That's where you're hoping if you're the Bears, because then it just pushes people down.
So here's the beautiful question. So Dallas Turner is off the board in this situation. The Bears are sitting at 9. So according to what we've been talking about, Rome Odunze is still available. Jared Verse is still available. Brian Thomas Jr. is still available. Olufushanu is still available, who, by the way, is good friends with Caleb Williams. Who are you guys taking at 9 with this board now?
I think you run in, you turn that card in.
Yeah,
Rome Odunze.
Rome is on that card. Yeah. I
don't think he's getting. I'll be honest. I don't think he's getting there. Unless they take that court. Unless JJ goes, I don't.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough.
You're gonna need one quarterback, please. You gotta get one in there somewhere.
But, I mean, this is working out really well if you're Chicago.
Yes, it is.
I mean, like, I'm honestly, because next year's draft is so stacked with defensive linemen, I am very okay with them sticking at 9, not getting more picks, getting Rome. Because you pick up Rome, who Caleb Williams has openly talked about, and Rome has talked about them being potentially teammates.
Mm-hmm.
I think that offense is Caleb's throwing for 4,000 yards. I'll put that. I'll put that out there right now. Sign me up.
Easy. Unless there's injuries, yeah, I agree.
But Dave, I think Dave, you said it. Like, if DJ or Keenan went down, you have no other big threat. Nothing against Tyler Scott or Valus or anything. You have to get that third guy.
Unless you bring in, I think Tyler Boyd's available, like free agency. Like, you need to make some moves here. Like, unless they Yeah.
Oh man. There's so many options. I know we're really over. I know that it's definitely past, at least for me.
There's no time.
Say
This is
no.
not
Me,
even-
me and Dave go like we went
Our
like
podcast is like an hour 45.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
God bless you guys. I've become. Figgy and I were talking about this. I've become an old man in my young age. Like I am gassed by 9 o'clock, but it's also because in today's day and age, you got to work 2 jobs. And this has definitely become a full-time job, man. It's crazy.
Well,
I don't know.
You be doing the daily stuff. So at least our shows are like once or twice. So it's like,
hey, you guys are mad respect. I'll be honest, like you, CHG, I love the Bears. I don't know if I can do it daily. But you also aren't going an hour 45. Yours is real to the point, which I like.
It's quick. Boom. Give me my information. I can move on. Thank you.
So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe.
Yeah. Subscribe.
Yeah. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. No, I've always made the gold standard because I work in media for my 9 to 5. People lose interest on short-term videos within the first 2 seconds of it. So you got to get their attention right away. In YouTube videos, it's always the first minute. So if I got to tell you something, it makes it easier for me too, because if I can talk about something in 5 minutes, I'm not editing an hour-long video. Like I'm not producing something. Also, like with where we are in the season right now, there's nothing to talk about. Like there is nothing
as we
to
talk
talk
for
about.
81 minutes.
Well, with the draft, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I get your point. Your point. Oh, just wait till the
that's
draft's
why
over.
That's
too.
why
We're
I want Hard Knocks.
Period.
That's why I want Hard Knocks. That's why I want these things for the Bears, because to be able to react to every episode, to have more content. And I know we're getting a 19-20 drive tomorrow from the Bears media team. So that will be fun. But I agree, Nick. I'm ready for the draft. I've been ready for like the last 30 days, honestly.
Also, shout out to everyone in the chat right now. Like we've consistently had over 100 people in here the entire episode. So shout out to everybody. Like without you, like everyone watching right now, none of us would be doing what we're doing because, and we make it fun.
Talk.
I love talking about the Bears. I could talk about the Bears. I remember when the Bears, what was it? They were 3-14 a couple years ago. It was 3-13 with John Fox.
Yep.
Was it with John Fox? Yeah. The really bad John Fox.
2016. And then 2017, we drafted Mitch.
Right. Yeah. So that season, I remember when I was like, do you guys remember it was Benny Cunningham apparently went out of bounds, and then John Fox challenged it, and he actually shot himself in the foot.
Yes,
because it reversed the call.
Yes,
I was in a room with like my whole family. I was in college, and I was pounding the table before the season began. I was like, Bears are going to definitely go places this year, and that was just me being completely optimistic. And everyone was like, so Nick, are they going places this year? I was like, you know what? There's a lot of good happening on the team right now. They're going in the right direction. They're like, oh my God, they're terrible.
God awful. So bad that year.
So I can talk about this team all the time. Also, my girlfriend's jokingly says all the time, she's like, half your wardrobe is just Bears stuff. And I'm like, if it's got a collar, I can wear it to work. It's got the Bears on it. Perfect.
No, I feel you on that. I mean, we've been through thick and thin with this team. I've been talking about this team for way too long. So it only makes sense. But that's what makes us credible about it, too. We've been following this team forever through the good, through mostly bad, as I have to remind all of us. But hopefully that all changes.
That's what's so crazy, Nick, is like everyone loves the Bears. They love their content. We all consume podcasts regarding it. And it's like we're not even good consistently. Like we might have a good game, maybe a good year like 2018 or great year. But like imagine, like you said, we talked about the Chiefs, talked about Ravens, just to be able to be consistent playoff team where you always have a chance. Like, oh, Caleb Williams, he's healthy. We have a chance for a Super Bowl. Like that's all I want for 10 years. I think we need that, man. I think we deserve that. So
yeah, I think so. That's fair.
And if we don't get it now, I don't know if we ever will.
I
think so we had that shot from like 2005 to like 2013 because we had solid defenses.
And look at the 85 Bears, right? They should have got more out of that team. And I know
86 they should have won.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like we're due for, if we can have, like you said, that guy, a franchise quarterback, you have your chance then.
Well, that's the biggest thing, though. Like you said, we've never been able to do that because we've never had the quarterback. It's always been the defense leading the charge for these good teams. 2018, 1985. I mean, they had Walter Payton, so that helps.
And now you have a chance
2006
to line it up both, where you have, holy shit, a top 10. Oh, sorry to cuss. Top 10 defense and a top 10 offense potentially. You know.
Mark literally was saying that we were doing so good, not cussing or anything.
I know.
I think I let one slip earlier, so that's my bad. That's my bad. I may have started.
I'm never going to be on here again.
Yeah, Dave's banned. Dave just got banned real quick.
Just get him out.
Banned for a couple weeks.
Dude, I'm just excited. And I know that everyone in the chat right now is just like, God, Nick, can we just keep freaking Scuba comes in hot right now. He said a swear. I'm just so ready for this draft, because then it gives us the opportunity to, draft week's going to be super fun for everybody. Make sure that you, again, subscribe to not only here, but make sure you go to the link in the description for these guys show. Great content. I mean, you guys get Kyle Long on all the time. Those are my favorite, by the way. I love seeing Kyle.
Kyle's great. He'd be chilling, bro.
His good friend, man. He's just he's my favorite player. So the fact that he's just also so good at the media too, which is unfair.
So quick story about Kyle. 2 quick stories is that he got kicked off my high school's turf football field when he was like a Pro Bowler because our athletic director didn't want him to sue the school if he got hurt. It was this whole thing. He went on a Twitter thing about it. Next time you guys have Kyle on, bring up Deerfield High School and just be like, it'll spark a memory for him. And then
I will.
my cousin built him a custom Bronco a couple of years ago, like a all black Bronco. If you see it on his Instagram, my cousin built it for him. So
like a Ford Bronco? Is you talking about
like a Ford Bronco? I think it's a 60. Was it a 67 Bronco?
Okay, that's fire.
It had a 5.0 Coyote engine in it. It was a 67 Bronco. It was sick.
That's wild. That's dope.
So I got to see it before Kyle picked it up. Yeah, he's a good guy. I've been trying to.
Those are so cool. I'm looking at them now.
Kyle got rid of it, I guess, according to my cousin. They still chat. I actually, right before this show, I texted my cousin because I know you guys have him on. I was like, hey, can you text Kyle Long for me? Because I would like to have him on the show, because he just seems like funny as it.
He is. He's great.
He was just on CHGO. I know he'll hop on. You just got to hit him up.
Hit him on Twitter. He replies on Twitter. He replies on Twitter a lot too. So
yeah, he's replied to a couple tweets. I can't message him though, but we'll work on that.
He has it closed.
Yeah, so he doesn't follow me back, but we'll work on that. We can. I know. We got Roberto Garza coming on in a couple weeks.
Oh, wow. That's back in the 06 run. Yeah. Right guard. Love Roberto.
So I don't know if Chris is in here, but Chris is Roberto's nephew. And he commented, he's like, hey, my uncle used to play for the Bears. And I was like, hey, like, we'd love to have him on. He goes, let me text him for you. This was a couple shows ago. So
that's awesome.
We'll see. We're working on it, but
that's cool. No, that's good. I love the current the past players that show love. You know what I mean? Come on to some stuff and just normally they keep it real, and then so it's awesome. I like that.
That's the thing with like everyone's schedules though. Like podcasting it's just so hard to like lock in. Yes, sometimes it's like everyone's moving. I think right now is probably a little bit easier, but man, when you get to the season, it's
game over.
Everyone's going 100 miles per hour. Content. But Roberto Garza would be sick.
And obviously we should do. I want to do a collaboration of us 3 with Eric Kramer, because Kramer comes on pretty often, and dude, everyone still to this day when he comes on the show talks about his take that Tyson Bagent should be the starter. And I was
Eric knows how to stir the pot, so you gotta love it.
But his breakdown, but it's so cool to hear his breakdowns, because
he's the starter right now.
Yes,
he was right.
Could you imagine? Don't.
Just don't even say it. No, I know where you're going. Just don't. Let's not. Let's not imagine. Because I saw Tyson Bagent play live twice. Because I went to too many games last year against the Saints.
Were you at the Raiders game too, Mickey?
No, I was at Saints. I went to Saints, Panthers, and those were the 2 where I saw Tyson. I also went to Week 1 Packers. That also sucked. But I did see Tyson play twice. So I've seen enough of Tyson. No, I saw Tyson play 3 times. I was at the Vikings game where Fields got hurt on the first play where he hurt his thumb or whatever it was, right? Tyson comes in, watch that, we lose. Then I go see the Saints game, which was cool because it was Montez Sweat's first game. We lose. Then I see the Panthers game where we think Fields is coming back. Nope. Tyson Bagent. Thankfully, we beat the Panthers because they suck. But all I'm saying is appreciate Tyson Bagent, what he did, going 2-2. But I've seen enough Tyson Bagent. It's Caleb Williams.
He's still a valuable asset though as a backup.
Absolutely. You know, that's why he's going to be on this team. That's so.
He's
develop a QB2.
Cost control and he's only
why not? Like we haven't been able. Not only have we not been able to develop a QB1, we haven't been able to develop a QB2. So why can't we do both? You know what I mean? Have your guy that's there that can back.
And he's more fun than like you said. You know, Andy Dalton,
Nick Foles,
no offense,
not Nick Foles,
Chase Daniel.
That Nick Foles black visor. Remember that the Atlanta Falcons game? That was electric.
Dirty.
That was
dirty.
Came back in.
That was
touchdowns right away. I know. Crazy.
It was Madden 2003 vibes, like the crappy graphics, but the visor was still on, and I'm like, holy shit! I actually met Nick Foles at the Walgreens in Deerfield when he was on the Bears. He is a massive dude, by the way.
Yeah, he's like 6'5", isn't he?
Yeah, 6'5", 6'6", but he's built like his shoulders would. Like, even if I took just me on this frame, he would still be like creeping out of it. Just a big dude. You have big.
Well, it's in the, I was about to say, yeah. That's literally what I was cooking up.
Hey,
I'm like,
family-friendly show. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Big-bodied Nick. Positivity.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, that is
All right.
correct.
All right, boys. We've been on it for an hour and a half. And this has been a lot of fun. And I know that we're doing a collaboration, I believe, tomorrow night. Is that right, Dave? Or
we got to get with you. We had a schedule here that we want to run by you, but we were trying to figure out. So we're kind of going through. Yeah, we're going to get you on, but like all the topics that we're kind of discussing, we kind of maybe want to wait a little bit, maybe push out maybe next week or something. So because I think we're getting. So Kyle Brandt, he's scheduled to come on perhaps next week. So we may do like 2 episodes. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're still working.
We'll figure it out.
Let's chat after. We don't want to bore everybody that's here still.
No, this is what they want to know. They didn't come for anything else.
They want to know our schedules.
Yeah, that's exactly what they signed up. That's what they signed up for. Put that in your thumbnh.
Share our calendars.
Just scheduling. That's it. No
the
top 9
BFR thumbnail. The
funny.
schedule.
Yeah. No, but we are gonna have Nick on the.
Yeah, we'll have
show.
you on. Absolutely.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and just want to give a quick shout out. So thank you guys for coming on. I truly appreciate it. Hour and a half. So if you guys can stay on for a second after too, that'd be great. But also shout out to everybody that stayed in the live chat and hung out with us. Again, if you haven't already, please go make sure you follow these guys, BFR Podcast. It is the link is in the description. They're having a video tomorrow. So make sure that you guys are having a video tomorrow, right?
No.
Oh,
we're actually taking like a hiatus this week. We've been going every week since the off season. So I think we're going to do our schedule. I guess we'll talk about schedule. Next week we'll have an episode, and then we're going to have 2 we're going to have a Thursday night, day 1, draft day, number 1, and then day 2. So we'll, like I said, we're going to, that week's going to be crazy, draft week. So we're gonna have a lot of content then. So taking a little bit of hiatus this week, unless we have to do an emergency podcast for whatever God reason. So,
and this literally we just discussed this right before we hopped on. So don't, like you're getting it pretty fresh as much as I found out. So
emergency podcast tomorrow when we trade the number 1 pick away to get a haul.
Bro,
you're hopping on, Nick. You better hop on. Don't even do your show.
I would
you two can hop on because I'm not going to be on that show. I will not be on that if we're trading the first away. I'm sorry. I need a break. I need to mentally relax. Yeah,
I would.
Sorry,
I would.
People know.
I would put I would shave my chest and put a Bears logo in it right before the show. Just
if that happens, because that'd be that's. You want to talk about the biggest shock ever, biggest surprise? That'd be the biggest surprise in Bears history. I would say that right now, 100%.
By far.
So we're
gonna end the show on that.
Yeah. Bears trading the 1 overall.
Man. But thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. Thank you guys for coming in. Ton of fun, but we'll do this again after the draft. Reactions, you name it. But guys, go to their link in the description. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. But thank you for tuning in to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody with the BFR Podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.